Just kind of talk about how practice is going this week. Kind of attitude.
It's actually been pretty good. The guys been flying around. We started last week with a lot of fundamental things, getting them back to the basics, and now actually putting in game plans, things like that. Seeing the guys execute it has been really good. Just the temperament, because we did a lot of the ones-on-ones to get the speed of the game. So that's been good. Anytime you can get fastball, it makes a difference. So I think practice has been really well. Even the special teams, the guys, and that's a really good measurement or parameter to look at. When the guys on the special teams are flying around doing practice, then you can pretty much write off that practice is going to be pretty good that day.
You guys were the hunted in this game last year, and now it's switched around a little bit. You try to play that up with your players? Are they aware of that? Does that matter to you guys?
Yeah, they have no clue. I mean, they really don't. What we really talk about is trying to fix us, to be honest. I mean, we really don't even look at last year's game because it's a different, obviously, dimensions without, Cam and Nick and some of those seniors that are gone, Josh Barnes. And so teams aren't playing us the same way, obviously, because we're not doing the same thing. So we really haven't focused on anything except for looking at their last 4 or 5 games and seeing the adjustments that they've made to formations and to things and seeing if we can take advantage of some of those. Then obviously on special teams, trying to find a way to just try to win the field position. I think one of the best things is for our guys to sit around and watch some of the games that are played on TV when they weren't playing, and look at some of the things that happened in different games, whether it was mistakes on special teams or whether it was mistakes on pre-snap penalties, things that can be fixed mentally. Just watching so many games and being able to talk to them about the situations that occurred with other teams and making sure those things don't happen to us, because we really try to harp on mistakes. We tell them the team that makes the fewest mistakes is going to win. I don't care what sport you're playing. The team that makes the fewest mistakes will win. And these type of games, with it's been a rivalry, and we got so many Georgia players on our team, and obviously for recruiting, this game's huge. This game's huge for both teams, and so we're excited about playing and looking forward to it.
How close to 100% are Emory and Trevon?
They're there. I feel good about both of them. To me, 100% is you step between them white lines. If not, then you stay over there. So I don't even allow them to limp. They get up downs for limping. Then the whole group has to do it. So if they clears you and you say you're ready, and you step between the lines, you limp on your own time. You don't limp in between drills and while we're on that field. It just doesn't work that way, guys. And I'm being serious. You can ask them. They'll tell you. We don't have time for that. If he steps out there and he tells me he's ready, otherwise you're taking reps from somebody that should be getting ready. And so when you make that decision that you're there or the trainer clears you, we're full speed or we don't go. So, but they both have really done well and have a high pain tolerance, which is good.
Going back to how this game sets up, and you guys, do you think you're a little looser this year, knowing that you've got some margin for error, or maybe they don't? If they lose this game, they're wrecked.
Well, we feel wrecked too. I mean, I'm saying, I mean, that works both ways. I mean, and we talk about our team. 50% of the teams win and 50% of the teams lose. It comes down to little bitty things. When you go out there. So neither team is going to practice to lose. Both teams are going to practice to win. And it's going to come down to the guys that can go out there and execute their offense, their defense, and their special teams. And because you're not going to blow a team out like Georgia. You look at it, and over the span of the rivalry, I think 38 points separates us, as far as wins and losses that way. And, it's always been that type of game. I can remember being at Tennessee and watching those two teams play. I always thought about how physical they were. If you were getting ready to play Georgia and they had already played Auburn and you watched that tape, you say, God, look at those guys fly around. Look how physical that game was. And that was always something that stood out. And it was just something different about when they played Auburn. And we have to be able to match that intensity, because they're going to be excited to play. They're at home, obviously for us going on the road. So it'll be a really good game, and I hope both teams play their best.
Have you seen the ESPN Roll Tide War Eagles special yet?
Yeah, I saw it.
What do you think of it?
I thought it was entertaining. That's what it was for. I don't think you have to watch that deal to understand the difference in if you look at the intensity of a rivalry, that rivalry is, it's second to none. I've seen a few, but I'm gonna tell you that right there. They talking about drawing a line in the sand. At this state, you can draw it in the cement because it doesn't matter. both teams have a lot of pride, and it was really entertaining. I thought it was really good. I thought, our man probably got more face time than anybody, but other than that, I thought it was pretty good.
I was watching the Georgia game from last year, yesterday, I guess. And when Nick Fairley at the very end of the game, you had kind of shepherded him away and kind of followed him away from that fight. What were you saying to him?
That I want him to play in an Iron Bowl because I did not want him to miss the next one. And so, I was, and what you got to understand is it's like going into the pen with a tiger. You really don't want to go in there and grab him, but if somebody's in there, you got to go save him. I really didn't want to put my hands on Nick. What I was trying to do was calm him down and make sure he knew it was me first, so he didn't punch me and then try to hold him off the field because, people don't understand. Kids don't go into it and say, I'm going to go get into a fight. When you see those things break out, it doesn't mean that they're bad kids. It just means that intensity and that time and that moment, they weren't disciplined enough to make the right choice or the right decision. And that happens in life. There's people that are in prison right now that weren't bad people that just made bad choices at the time. And so we try to educate our guys on those same things. And we talk to them about the consequences of being accountable for those actions. And we lost 2 guys for the first half of that game. That was huge because they were ejected from that game. And I just didn't want to go in that game without him. And I know this much at that time and that point of the year, if you remember, they were labeling Nick as a dirty player and all this, and I just knew that they would be watching him a little harder. So when they first started off, he was the first one I thought about and the first one I went to. So.
Because of what happened last year, you kind of give a little extra talk every once in a while this week in practice leading into Saturday going, okay, let's make sure everybody's on the lookout and, for maybe officials being a little closer calls, those kind of things.
Really, with Coach Chiswick, you don't have to worry about that because he addresses that every week. The first thing that we go over are the mistakes from penalties, and we look at games that we've lost and won. Most of the games that we've lost, we won the penalty battle. We had more penalties than the other team. And so, because field position is so huge, I think people really don't understand how important field position is. That's why the punter from LSU, when they talk about him pinning people and doing those things, you look at Parkey, if he's not kicking that ball out the end zone, that giving those guys an opportunity to make big plays on an offensive play that could give them field position that could win the game. And so we really try to educate our guys. We bring the officials here. We cut off penalties and things and show them the TV copy of it or another copy from the game so that they'll realize the mistakes that they make. Whether it's a face mask or whether it's the ones that really get you are the pre-snap deals where you got 12 men on the field or your guys not lined up. I've been doing it a long time, and this is the most penalties we've had for guys not being lined up correct because the way the officials looking at that formation, and so we have to do a better job of communicating because we felt like we were on the ball, and we've run that formation so many times, but it doesn't matter. The bottom line is what they're calling, and it's our job and responsibility to make sure that we eliminate jumping off sides or, a clock issue, any of those kind of things that could hurt you during the game. And so with Coach Chiswick, first of all, you don't want to be that guy because you're going to play on Sunday, and second, you don't want to be that position coach because you're going to play Monday through Sunday. The rest of the week, he's going to let you know that it's your responsibility that you guys don't get those kind of. Now, if it's an effort deal where a kid's reaching and he grabs a face mask because he's diving, we can live with that. But when it's something that has nothing to do with his ability or his talent, just his discipline, that's a problem.